Dear Konami NA, can we not? Hey guys, it's Tombox here. Thanks for tuning into MST.TV and listening to my call and also learning about some of the rulings that you should be aware of for the upcoming WCQ. But what are we talking about? We're going to be talking about the dreaded TCG NA trigger timing location rule, which is exclusively for North America, Canada, US, and I'm not even sure if Mexico follows this one. But I know Canada's for sure because we're applying it here. It's been applied in the Seattle regionals I've been to. It's been applied at Niagara Falls. I don't know what you guys want me to say. So yeah, it's something that we apply, which makes the game really different. I mean, it's 2019. Shouldn't we consolidate all the rules? We got so many products out there. We've got, well, the Switch game that's coming in the summer, which is the Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution. We've got Duel Links. Why can't we just put all the rules under one house? It makes a lot of sense for us to do it like that. And if we don't do that, it just makes the rulings more confusing. Even the judges sometimes struggle. Like European judges, and then when they compare it with the US judges, we have to make sure that we remember this call. And this stuff is not even in the rule book. Can you imagine taking an RC exam, RC2, your written exam, getting the same two tests, and then they get different answers? Side note, those questions are never asked on those exams. So what is this TCG NA rule? So I kind of wrote it down so that I can word it out properly. So when a trigger effect condition is met, before the new effect starts a chain, they must be in the correct location where the trigger is explicitly stated. So in other words, if you have an effect that is a summon-based trigger, say on special or normal summon, say a special summon, because normal summon you're never really going to miss it, because a normal summon requires an action. Say a special summon, say you use a card effect to special summon a card, and then it was removed off of the field before the chain, well, finished, then your card, even though it has a trigger effect on summon, it will not activate in North America, but it will activate everywhere else. This is known as the MST.TV call rule. So this happened during Duelist Alliance when they called this out. I remember back in the day, it wasn't like that. You could you call the Haunted Stratos, you get your search, whatever. But this time, it's used blind MST on a back row. Your opponent chains call the Haunted, summon a Satellar Knight Deneb. Deneb gets summoned out as the chain resolves, and then the call the Haunted gets destroyed, in turn destroys the Deneb, so Deneb's removed from the field. And then even though Deneb has an if trigger, the trigger condition was met. But in North America, you will not get that search, but everywhere else, you do get that search. And that's where everything stemmed from. In Burning Abyss, in context, what happened would be, say, a graph detach from a Dante. But that graph never activated before. It has an optional trigger effect, but it's an if trigger, and it can summon out of the deck. However, during that chain of Dante paying cost, detaching the material or milling the graph into the graveyard, a DD Crow was activated, taking it out of the graveyard. That graph will also now not be able to activate, as it is no longer in the graveyard when the new chain starts. And that's kind of the stem of it all. So that is what it is. So how does that apply to our current game of Yu-Gi-Oh! In North America? Well, Orchist and Chaos Dragon Levioneer definitely have some interactions here, and I guess I should just demo it for you guys right now. To allow me to illustrate this play, which is somewhat meta relevant, I'm going to exclude the Fog Blades because I'm trying to demonstrate a ruling rather than demonstrate anything else. So this is the field I have set up. This is the center. This is my opponent's board. This is my side. And we're going to do this play. So I summon a Chaos Dragon Levioneer, banishing lights and darks. And there's a Rusty Bardiche right here. This has a trigger effect, so I'm going to activate the summon trigger. And nothing really can stop that. That's the first action. This is not happening from a previous chain. So chain link 1. Then my opponent goes ahead with the Babble. They have quick effects with the Orchis monster. They go ahead and banish the Symbol Skeleton to target the Dingirsu to summon it back out. And okay, well, now we resolve the chain link 2. We special summon out the Dingirsu onto the pointer of our Phantom Knight Bardiche. And then I'm going to use, of course, the effect chain link 1. And we're going to resolve that. We're going to pop both of these. In TCG North America, that's it. Because trigger effects, they need to activate in their proper location when the new chain happens. If they're removed from their triggering location, that's specifically stated on the card, say if they need to be summoned, they need to be on the field. If they need to be sent to the graveyard, they need to be in the graveyard. If they are removed from those locations, and if their trigger condition states those locations, then it will not activate. So in TCG North America, Bardiche and the Dingirsu both won't activate. But I want to point out one thing about the Bardiche. The Bardiche, if you read this effect carefully, it states that if a Dark Xyz monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to while this card is on the field, so the trigger requires it to stay on the field. So regardless of where you're from, if you pop the Bardiche, if they summon onto the arrow, Bardiche still won't activate because it needs to be face up on the field for it to activate. So yeah, that trigger won't go through. But in terms of if it's TCG NA, if Levioneer pops both of these in the chain of Symbol Skeleton, neither of them will get their effect. But if this was just anywhere else, if you pop both of these, then the Orcus Dingirsu will be able to trigger and will be able to send one card on the field to the graveyard, which will send the Chaos Dragon Levioneer. Now, this whole ruling was established a long time ago during Duelist Alliance time when a player decided to go ahead and blind MST. And that blind MST hit a Call to Haunted. The player chain Call to Haunted, reviving Deneb. And Deneb, even though it has an if trigger, and we all know that if triggers do not really miss timing, it usually starts in a new chain. But because Deneb was summoned out, and then that was in Chainlink 2. Chainlink 1 MST blew up the Call to Haunted, which had a continuous effect to blow up the thing that it was attached to. Deneb was destroyed. And because Deneb was destroyed in the previous chain, it's no longer on the field for it to meet the triggering timing for North America. Deneb doesn't get a search. Everywhere else in the world, and every single game that we've played, does not follow this North American ruling. So that's something to take with a grain of salt, which is why I'm kind of wondering why it's 2019 and why we're still doing this. But yeah, everywhere on the rest of the world, She-Orcus Dingirsu definitely will be able to pop your card or send one of your cards to the graveyard. That's just how it works. But for now, we're gonna have to accept it. And this is like nothing new. Like if you remember DD Crow versus the Burning Abyss, if Dante uses one of his material, which was say a graph, and sends it to the graveyard, and you chain DD Crow to that, so Chainlink 2, DD Crow, Chainlink 1, the Dante gain attack effect, the graph will be removed from the graveyard. It has a send to the graveyard trigger, but since it's banished when the new chain happens, even though the triggering condition was met, it doesn't get to activate, which is very stupid, because everywhere else, as long as the trigger was met, it will remember. Yeah, fun food for, I guess food for thought right there. This next trigger-based ruling, I'm going to illustrate it right now. This could be meta-relevant as there's been some mistakes going on already. So, we're going to summon out a Battery Man Solar, activated summon trigger, and my opponent, in response to that, chains his Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres and treating it for cost. Okay, but in response to that, I chain DD Crow, targeting the Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, and now we'll play it back. DD Crow is going to banish the Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. Chainlink 2, it's going to bounce one of the cards, say the Battery Man Solar, and then Battery Man Solar is going to send a card into the graveyard, which will be, say, my Thunder Dragon Dark. Now, in this instance, will the Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres summon a monster from the deck, or hand, or wherever? So in TCG NA, the answer is yes, it will summon. It will summon a monster from the deck or hand. Why is it that? Like, it got removed from its triggering location. But let me read to you guys Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres and kind of identify the differences between the two. Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres doesn't exactly have an explicitly stated triggering location. It's stated if this card is tributed, special summon out one dragon monster from your hand or deck and make its attack and defense 0. The triggering condition states that it only needs to be tributed. When you tribute a card, it can land up in the banish pile or in the graveyard. If there's Macrocosmos, if you tribute something, it is just going to get banished. So in this case, there is no specific location for the Hieratic Seal to be, for it to trigger. It's going to be in the right location regardless, because the triggering condition is the action of tributing it, and it will be met regardless of where that card ends up. Unlike all the other ones where, like, if this card's sent to the graveyard, but then it was not in the graveyard anymore, or if this card needs to be summoned, but it's not in the field anymore. This one is completely different, where it's just, it needs to be attributed. Like if a card stated that it needs to be removed from the field, it will basically trigger at any point, as long as it's from the field and then it's gone. The only time it wouldn't be if it gets transformed into an exceeds material. Yeah, so there's that to consider. So in TCG NA versus TCG the rest of the world, this ruling is the same. The Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, if it gets banished by a DD Crow, it will still activate. This is different from Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave will negate the card. It won't even bounce your monster, and then let alone be able to summon out a card from the deck or hand. It's because Call by the Grave negates the monster's name's effect entirely till the end of the next turn. So I just want to make sure that that's very clear for all of us, so that you guys understand how the TCG NA stuff works, so when you go to WCQ, you don't get screwed over. Yeah, but of course confirm with your head judges. Yeah, because there's been like rulings that are different from judge to judge for this, and this is just how it is, really, because it's just a case where we just need to learn. So that's basically all I got for this video. Do you agree with TCG NA being a thing, or do you think it should just be removed altogether and the entire rules of Yu-Gi-Oh can just be across the world all the same? Or do you think that the NA adds a different flair to the game? Let me know down in the comments section below, or if I made any mistakes in explaining, you can clarify it down in the comment section. I always welcome it. If you're wrong though, well, if you're polite about it, I won't point it out. But if you are really kind of off about it, prepare to get pinned and prepare to be shamed. Yeah, I think that's all I got for this video. I'm pretty tired. I made 2 videos today, and yeah, anyways, that's all I got for this video, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hit me up with a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, hit that subscribe button and ding that notification bell, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao, guys. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.